Hi, in this video, we're going to be talking about the SoftMaker FreeOffice suite of tools here. So if you want something to use on your computer and do not have Microsoft Office, you could use this because it's actually free compared to Office, of course. So you can use the Office apps online in your web browser, but not everybody likes to work in the cloud, so to speak. And not everybody wants to pay the subscription for Microsoft 365, even though you can still download the Office 2021, I believe, as a standalone version, but of course you have to pay for it. All right, so FreeOffice has three main components here. They have their TextMaker, which is like Word, Presentations, which is like PowerPoint, and PlanMaker, which is like Excel. So depending on what you're trying to do, it may not have everything you need, like some of the more advanced Excel features. But if you're not a Power Excel user, it might be just fine. All right, so we have it installed on this computer, and it also has Office, so we're going to show you how they look in each one here. All right, so we have the shortcuts here for each one. So let's open up a Word document first in Word. All right, as you can see, we have a table of contents here, some text with some graphics, like so. All right, so now let's open up TextMaker. So the first time you open up each one of these, it's going to ask you to pick your color scheme. And if you don't choose one, it's just going to pick the default for you. If you want to do light or dark or the colored mode like they have here. And then for TextMaker, it's going to ask you to fill in your name and some other information, and that is used for the document information that's kept with the document. And of course, you don't have to do that either. All right, so we have a little welcome thing here, and you can see we have some similar tabs. Let's open up that Word document one more time here so we can compare the tabs. Or you can see we have more tabs here than we do here. All right, let's check them out real quick. So we're just going to show you a quick overview of some of the features here, the menus and the tab and the ribbon interface, and that way you could try it out for yourself if it's something you think you might want to use. All right, so we have our File tab here, which is different from Word, because if you go to File here, you have some other menu items. New, open, close, your document information for saving, export to PDF, print information, properties, options. So not as many options as Word have, but decent amount of options here. All right, customize options here. So if you want to minimize the ribbon, so they actually call it a ribbon as well, and the user interface. So if you don't pick a theme here when you first start it up, you could come here and choose it. So this is the screen you'll see when you start it the first time. And this is the default color setting right here. So you could do, light and dark mode and so on. Let's close that up, get that out of the way. All right, we have our rulers. We have like a quick access toolbar down here like Word has. But it's on the top here. Of course, you can move it to the bottom for Word as well. All right, let's go to the Home tab here. Paste options, even a Format Painter option. Font information, paragraph settings, styles, search, find and replace, select all. All right, insert menu here. We have our breaks, tables, picture options, text box, different shapes like Word has, lines. They even have text art, which is the same thing as word art in Word. Links, bookmarks, headers and footers, date and time, and so on. Even some symbols. All right, layout settings here, very similar. Chapter settings, columns and line numbers, paragraph settings, position. If you have images, you could change your wrapping mode, bring it to the front, send it to the back. Check out your grid lines and settings for various type of objects. All right, then we have a references section here. So for table of contents and index, for example, we have some mail merge type options here. Review settings, spell checker. You could even turn off spelling as you type if you want, edit your dictionary, and then some view options here. Standard mode. If you don't want, page breaks here, you could have it be continuous mode. Form option, fields, grids and rulers, zoom options, page views, sidebars, and window options. All right, so let's open this document in TextMaker. So let me close it here. Even has a little preview window. So if we click on here, shows you a preview before you open it. So here are the types you can open here. So quite a few. All right, so we have our table of contents, which looks like it's intact there. Our text and our images. So it looks just like Word. All right, so let's close this out here. All right, so now we're going to look at PlanMaker. So let's check out this financial sample spreadsheet in Excel first. So you might run across this too if you have Excel and PlanMaker installed. It's going to ask you which one you want to open it with. And even if you pick just once, it's going to pick whatever one you choose, I've noticed. So I'm just going to do this for now to open it in Excel. All right, so we have our tabs down here for our different worksheets. All of our typical options here. We have our drop downs for our filtering and sorting and so on. Okay, so now let's open the same one in PlanMaker here. Let's see if we could actually do this. Okay, so we have our same options here. You could click on the down arrows to change your options here if you want to do sorting and filtering. All right, so we have several tabs up here. Let's look at Excel again real quick. All right, File, Home, Insert, Layout, Formula, Insert, Formulas. So it's a little bit different. Data Review and View. So where you don't have things like Automate and Draw, for example, but pretty similar. Of course, these tools might not all be in the same section as they are in Excel, for example, so keep that in mind. And it could also be a case of them just naming the tabs differently. So if you're used to using Excel, you might have to take some time to figure out where everything is in PlanMaker. All right, so we have our File tab here with our typical open and close, save options, PDF export, print options, properties, recalculate, regular options here. Like so. Then they have the same customize options here as well if you want to change the look or minimize the ribbon. All right, the Home tab here, edit options, paste options, font alignment, numbering, formatting options, cell options, all your sort and filter and auto sum features here. Search option, find and replace, select all. Then we have the Insert tab, even have pivot tables. Your insert options for pictures, text boxes, charts, and so on. Links, comments, headers, and footers. Layout options, similar to what we saw in the TextMaker. You can even define your print range, that's nice. Cell sizes. Let's see what happens when we right click on a cell. We have the same options for the height here as well. Inserting and deleting cells. All right, positions, if you have charts and images in there, if you want to rearrange them, and settings for objects. All right, then we have our formulas section here for the functions. So a lot of functions you could choose from there. Recently used, all the different categories for functions, named ranges, and updates. All right, data tab here for sorting and filtering. External references, your pivot tables, grouping options, spell check options, comments, cell protections. So if you want to protect your workbook or a worksheet, you could do that. Then our view options here. For view, for zooming, for windows, you could actually freeze cells, freeze the top row, and so on. And we have our table tab for making tables. All right, so we can't see the bottom here with the tabs. Let's see, there we go. All right, so then we have our worksheets down here too, and you can add a new worksheet as needed. All right, so as you can see, it has quite a bit to it, just like the real Excel does, so it might be enough for what you need. All right, let's close this out here. All right, so finally we're going to look at presentations, which is their version of PowerPoint. So let's open this in PowerPoint first. All right, we have all of our slides down here with our images, like so. All right, let's open up their version here. So as you can see, it gives you the first slide like PowerPoint does for a new presentation. To click to add title and subtitles. All right, we have file here, home, insert, design, transition, and so on, compared to the real PowerPoint. Has a few more tab options up here. All right, let's close this and open up this file and see what it looks like here. See, it gives us a preview of the first slide there as well. All right, so it looks pretty good here. All right, let's check out the tabs here real quick. Same edit options, adding slide, change the layout of the slides, duplicate, delete, rename slides, and so on. And also if you right click on a slide, you have similar options here. All right, character for fonts, paragraph setting, objects, search, and so on. Here are insert objects similar to the other apps. We could insert videos and audio as well. Comments, headers, and footers, insert a table. Another way to insert slides here. Design options here if you want to change your scheme. Slide size, orientation, change the background. Restore your deleted layout elements. And we have our quick access toolbar down here as well. All right, here we have all our transitions here. So if you want to set up some transitions between your slides, they even have their own transitions down here, even some 3D ones. Then you have your options here. So these are grayed out because we don't have any transitions right now. Duration settings for the transitions, sound options, and when they are applied, and if you want to apply them to all the slides. All right, then we have the same thing for animations here. There you go. We even have them categorized if you want to check them out that way. Then some of these animations will have their own variants as well. Actions for the animations. Animation pane if you want to see that and keep track of your animations. Then we have the slideshow options here. Settings for your slideshow. We have some options to start from the first slide or this current slide. All right, so you can see it looks pretty good, just like PowerPoint. All right, then some view options here. So if you want to check out the slide sorter, you could do it that way. Outline view. If you want to add notes, slide master settings, ruler, grid options, color mode, zoom options. If you want to see the sidebar, window options if you have more than one open. And then when you click on a picture within your slide here, you get the picture tab. And then you have a bunch of options for that. Cropping, brightness, colors, and so on. Add some lines, reposition them, duplicate them, change the size, and so on. All right, so not too bad. Definitely something you could use to make some pretty nice presentations. All right, so that is about it for the basic overview of the FreeOffice suite of tools here. So obviously you just get the three main tools here. They don't have like their own version of Outlook or OneNote or anything like that. But of course you could use OneNote for free for the Windows edition. And then of course, if you want Outlook, you could use the Windows edition of that as well. All right, so I'll put a link in the description where you could download FreeOffice and then you could try it out for yourself. But like I said, if you have the real Office installed as well, you're going to have some, conflicts and have to decide which is going to be your main application. And of course, you could change that at any time. So for example, let's right click on this one here, open with. So you could choose from here. And if you want to make something permanent, just click on choose another app. Let's say I want to use Excel from now on. Make sure you pick the right one, click on always. And then anytime you double click an Excel file, it will use Excel instead of PlanMaker. So that's a way to kind of use them both and pick your defaults. All right, thanks for watching and be sure to subscribe.